I am no Jedi. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now.
We have a lot of work to do.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Explore the Force, and this is our Ahsoka recap for part 6. Your Ahsoka HQ. Thanks for thanks for chatting with us this week. We have Jimmy Adams. Hello, Jimmy.
Woo!
And
What's
we
happening,
have
everybody?
Yeah, hey guys. But we don't have Jack with us this week because he is currently in line to get on a plane to go to Denver. So I
Yes,
don't want to say he's on the plane.
Flying to Denver, and Denver to London, I believe. So he's got some traveling ahead of him. He's looking at, I don't know, probably 11 hours or so of flying.
Oh
So
God.
hopefully he'll get it downloaded. I know before we got on, he was complaining because he couldn't download the episode before he got on the plane. So
Yeah, he was like, I have 45 minutes to get on the plane, but it says 3 hours to finish downloading.
yeah, no kidding. So, but yeah,
May
let's
the force
dive
be
into
with
episode.
him. Yeah.
Yes. Let's go ahead and dive into episode 6, Far, Far Away.
Yeah.
Directed by Jennifer Getzinger. And just a quick rundown on her. I know we haven't really done this before, but this lady's impressive. She obviously has an episode of Ahsoka. She has The Nevers. I'm not sure if she was directed all those. It's an HBO show with these women have superpowers and stuff, but it's kind of set back in the 1800s. It's kind of a cool concept, but
that is
it's
cool.
never. I haven't seen a second season of it. She's got Westworld on her resume, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Outlander,
Jessica Jones?
the man in the High Castle. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Agent Carter, Mad Men.
Really?
I mean, I mean, she has, and I think it showed tonight. I thought tonight went. Let's dive into tonight. Taylor, your first impressions of episode 6, Far, Far Away. What'd you think?
First of all, spoilers. We're gonna go into spoilers right now. So if you guys haven't watched the episode, you're gonna go back right now and you're gonna watch it, and then you're gonna come back and you're gonna listen to this again. I really, really liked this episode. I just sound like a broken record. I probably just say the same thing every week. Like, oh, it was so good. I love it. But it was so it was different, but in a good way. And it's what we were expecting.
I needed this episode after last week's episode. I needed this. So I liked last week's, like I said, it just something just didn't sit right with me, and we'll get into it. But yeah, so I guess we just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Dive in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you like the fact that every episode kind of seems to be starting with different noises or different it's kind of like the sound is leading us into the scenes, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is, because it's black background and Star Wars rainbow, and I don't know, I never listen for the music like you guys do right away. I just get so excited and I get right into it. But this time I actually could hear all of the whale noises, and it's funny because I was talking to my husband. I said, what did you think? What are they going to open up with? It's going to open up with Thrawn right away. Oh, it's going to open up with Sabine right away. What do you think? What do you think? And he's like, I don't know, Taylor. You're the one who speculates. And I'm like, it's going to open up on Sabine right away. It's going to be Sabine. We're not even going to see Ahsoka. And then we hear the whale noises, and I'm like, oh, I was so wrong. It's like, here we go.
Well, I just had to laugh at the opening because I know somebody, I can't remember what, I listened to a couple different recaps, We got the guys at Star Wars Sessions, and we got Force Center podcast and a few other ones that I listened to. And somebody on one of those podcasts said it could just be Sabine and Ahsoka and Huyang sitting in the mouth of a whale talking for 45 minutes. And I just started laughing thinking, oh my God, It's come true. So, I mean, I was down for it though. Conversation was good. David Tennant's been crushing it as Huang.
Oh, he's so good. God.
Yeah, and they continue to do these little nuggets of info dumping, like they did with Huang, where he talks about I still have these stories from the archives, and kind of giving more of his background for people, so people can keep digging in, but not beating you over the head with it. I love it. I think Dave's done a great job,
just the right
writing
amount
that
of hot
into
sauce.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Ahsoka's like, remember those stories you used to tell us when we were kids? And he's like, I told all the young Jedi these stories. There's number 1, 2, and 3. And they're just like, oh, number 1 is always the best. And it's like, we're like, oh yeah, cool. And then like something else happens, and yeah, he's like, do you have a story to tell me? And she's like, but I lied to Hera. Like, not really. I just didn't tell her the full thing about what happened with Sabine. And then I guess she's like, she gets in an argument with Huyang about like Sabine's choice. Like, is this even like she made the wrong choice? And he's like, it's the only choice that she could have made. Like, oh, it's weird. He's on her side. He's on Sabine's side for once, I think.
Yeah, they've done a really good job with David Tennant. Like, people don't know we're going to talk about droids on Sunday on our show, so just a little plug. But yeah, Huang has been awesome. We don't get a ton of them in Clone Wars, but I want to see more of this.
Episodes,
yeah, there's only a few, but they've really brought this character to life, and I've loved every scene that David Tennant / Huang is in. Has been on point, so it's very cool.
So good. The humor is just so flat. Like, it's just great. It's like perfect for this time era. Like, I don't know. He's so good. And now I just want to go back to those Clone Wars episodes so I can watch it for Huyang. Like, and that's what they want, is us to go back. So,
I think so.
Somebody has to figure out what episodes he's in so that I can watch those episodes.
I'm sure
I might
there's
as well just do a
online.
Oh, yeah. That's what we have, internet, right? But
that's
and then Ahsoka.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, and then Ahsoka and him kind of had this little argument, like, no, whatever, about Sabine's choice. And Ahsoka goes, you know what? I do want to hear one of those stories. Tell me. And it's just like the music just goes like beautiful, and all of a sudden, like, it's just you see out the cockpit of the ship, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's like, I don't know, in a galaxy, like, long time ago. Oh my god, I was just like,
yeah, it was pretty cool.
He's like,
it was pretty
crying.
fun. It was definitely pretty cool, like the way they tied that, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and then of course then we get the title card, and the title, far, far away. So it's kind of cool. And then we open up on Baylan, or we open up on Sabine. Like, camera's coming in on her. She's chilling in her prison or whatever, and she wakes up, and
cell.
Her and Baylan, her and Baylan kind of have some words. Well, she has words at Baylan. Baylan doesn't really feed into that.
Yeah.
Toxic negativity.
This is an opportunity for reflection in herself, right? He has given her the opportunity for reflection.
So and then I just wrote down, Baylan has a plan. Now we'll get more information as we go through this episode, but my thing, I could just tell, like, his plan is coming together before him. I'm sure it's going to fall apart dramatically, but he has a plan, and we're getting closer to finding out what it is.
But Shin has no idea what it is either, so she's just there.
He's kind of kept Shin in the dark. Yeah, there's a couple things he says to her, which we'll get into, but I was kind of like, oh, she has no clue. She doesn't know. Yeah, it just seems like he keeps, as he was giving us nuggets of information, Shin was hearing these things for the first time as well, it seemed like, throughout the episode. So kind of surprising to me that he's kept her out of the loop when it's just been those two. So maybe they're not as close as we thought. I don't know. That's a weird relationship. I'm so glad it's back, though. I really missed those characters last week. So I'm real glad that. And then what happens? The Eye of Sion comes out of hyperspace. And did you notice the damage on the outside of the as it comes out of hyperspace, it's almost like it's on fire.
Really?
It's like, yeah, you have to go back and watch it. It's like glowing red. Now it's, traveling the heat
Oh,
or whatever, but I think it might be damaged. Might come in the story plot later on.
that's
I
really cool.
was
I didn't see that at
doing
all.
my best Jack impersonation, trying to watch all the little things around. But yeah, the ring itself is like almost on fire in certain places, and it kind of goes out when it slows down. But I think I
Wow.
can't remember, was it you or Jack that said that thing is the shape big enough for the Chimera?
Must have
One
been
of you two
Jack.
said that,
Must have been Jack.
and so I think, and I kind of thought the same thing when I saw it. Looked like a Jedi, a hyper jump ring, but so I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool, and then bam, no wasting any time. They're in Peridia. What'd you think of the planet?
It's like it's nothing that you expected. Like I'm expecting Planet X. You know what I mean? Like not
Oh,
actually Planet X from the High
well,
Republic, but like something similar to it. Like what is it? I have it all written down. Uh the land of dreams and madness and folk tales, and it's like, and Balin says if the old stories are true, like then this is going to be his new beginning. Like, he doesn't even, I don't know. But the
yeah, well,
planet,
yeah,
sorry, I'm just like reading my little notes. But the planet's like gray and like
dreary.
very Lord of the Rings y.
Yes, I have some notes about Lord of the Rings coming up. So,
So
and we know that
many.
obviously Filoni's a massive Lord of the Rings Tolkien fan.
Yeah.
So, how about the
Yeah,
ring
right.
around Peridia? I thought, oh, it's like just like any other space ring. There can be rocks floating around it, whatever, and it's bones of the space whales, turtle
The
bones.
whales come here to
Yeah,
die. So I didn't even
yeah.
think that that's what all that crusties were. Ah! Oh my gosh,
No,
I
I
was.
know either. Yeah, and
Oh
then
my
they
god, I didn't
zoom in
even
on it, and
think
it's all
about it.
those. Well, they zoom in on it, and it's like bones and carcasses and stuff.
Yeah, I saw
So
the zoomed in part, but I didn't think about it like that from far away. That ring of like what looks like cloud is just all bones and
yeah.
whoa.
So I wonder if that big one's going there to die or something. Because it said they come
Oh,
here to die, and it's his last trip, maybe, or something. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
somehow.
Um, but yeah, they go in, like you said, they go in there. Peridia, a
Mhm.
graveyard. I have written a graveyard, home of the Dathomiri, and just a ring
Yeah,
of bones. So this is the home world
it's like the
of the
kingdom. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Night Sisters, the Dathomiri. They all came
Yeah,
here, and what they call them, they called the whales the travelers.
yeah, yeah.
So
My
it looks like a
ancestors have ridden the
dreary.
travelers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
All the
they kind of,
statues everywhere, all the weird, creepy,
yes.
like long statues that look like Scream. I
Oh,
just
yeah, they
have
kind of
written
do.
down,
But
yeah, I have Dathomirian statues, witches, and then I like how her little ship is gold, goldy kind of. Like I actually, you know what? I wrote down cute, neat little gold ship. Her ship is gold. All of her stuff is always gold,
yeah,
right? Not
I
like
wrote,
not in Mando season 2. But and then here, all of
oh, yeah.
Thrawn's repairs that they've done to all of their stormtrooper suits and stuff is all gold. So it's like,
Yeah, it's like a combination of some
yeah,
things.
it looks like they found some old tombs and they're like using all the super strong metal or um
Yeah.
something for, but it's a little bit freaky but kind of cool at the same time. But it was just like I'm just realizing that right now, the gold ship and her stuff always has to be gold, and like Ultron's stuff has been gold for the last how many years,
Thought that,
have they been stuck there?
well, that's what Molly
7.
asked me. My wife, who doesn't, she likes Star Wars. She's not like a
Yeah.
nutbag like we are, but um, she asked me, like, how long have they been there? And I was trying to do the calculations in my head. They are Rebels leading up to A New Hope, correct?
Yes.
And then then Ezra goes missing right before the Battle of Yavin. So
Yeah.
they've been there for a while. I mean, because this is like 7 or 8 years after Return of the Jedi. So it's been a long time. It's been quite a few years.
Okay, because I was trying to figure it out too, and like why did I get like, oh, it's only like 7 years or something? But
Well, it's 7 years after Return of the Jedi, but Rebels ends right before A New Hope, if I'm not mistaken, or right before Rogue One, kind of.
So what? That's like
Because
30
the
years?
ghost show,
No, 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 no.
the ghost shows up at the Battle of Scarif, right?
Yeah, we
Don't we
see it
see it
flying
zooming
around.
in? So because everyone's like, "Oh, it's Jason or it's Hera or whatever." So it's
Maybe we'll find
been,
out.
yeah. So it's been, it's been quite a while. It's been in the teens for years, I bet you,
Yeah, it's probably like 17 or
because you
18
got
years or
9 years
something like that.
after, so,
Okay,
something
well,
like that.
we're going with 18.
Yeah, something somewhere in there. I'm sure there's a. We could probably
Long
look
enough
it
to
up,
make
but
Thrawn look old as heck.
yeah, yeah.
He's not aging well in Peridia.
No, he's not. Before we get to him, though,
Okay,
more
okay.
Night Sisters.
Yes, the three witches, and they look exactly like the witches in Clone Wars would look in live action, with the
Yes,
red,
and
the
they
freaky
sounded
faces.
like you mentioned like the voices last week, I think. Uh,
Hmm.
and I feel like I was like, oh, Taylor's gonna like this. Those three mother witches or whatever.
Yeah.
It was very cool. It looked awesome. I thought they looked great. So,
Yeah,
yeah. But then
the
you know what was
Great
weird was
Mother.
they yeah, we're kind of skipping over something with Sabine. They
Oh,
you have so they land and there's you know uh Morgan and Balin and Shin on one side, and then there's Sabine on the other one, and they look right at Sabine and say, "She stinks like a Jedi."
yeah, it reeks of Jedi in here.
So she must be the potential must be there for her to be stronger than she is.
Yeah, because
For
the
them
little
to,
droid things went I don't know if they sent him to her or whatever, but if they just let those little droid ball things go out on their own and they just went right past Shin and Balin straight to Sabine, then that's cool. Like, oh, like we know how powerful Balin is. Like he is freaking powerful.
yes,
He beat Ahsoka. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? But or maybe they just looked right at her like, "Oh, it's her," and then they just sent their things to get her. But
yeah. I don't know,
it
but either way, that kind of sets the tone for Sabine to be more.
yeah, it's almost like
Would you?
it would make me feel good like, yeah. Yeah, I am. Like yeah, I'm a Jedi. Like confidence builder before they throw her in the cell or whatever. And then
Yeah, she gets back in.
And then Morgan's like tells Balin like, you better be keeping your promise to her. And it's like, whoa, the roles have like changed because last week it was Balin who was like, oh, I'm gonna keep my word, no problem. And now he's like, eh. But
Yeah, I mean, he has a plan for her, but yeah, so
good
yeah,
actor.
it's pretty cool. Those kids. I mean, those witches. All that stuff was really cool. It's really strong beginning to Peridia, I thought, and of course, then it kind of moves into some stuff, and
Mhm.
let's go ahead and talk about that. Yeah, so we start seeing some different things. Of course, I mean, I don't know about you, Taylor, but I'm sitting there just like, where is Thrawn? Where is Thrawn? Where is Thrawn? But we don't get to get to him yet.
Oh,
I
he'll
think
be
we were
here
just talking off
soon.
air, and
Like, what?
yeah, we both thought it zooms out and shows some of the countryside, and I thought they were loth wolves or wolves. I think you did
Yeah.
too. We'll get to see him closer up later on, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool little tidbit to kind of lead us into it. But then Balin starts talking to Shin about some stuff, and this is what I have been waiting for. I have been chomping at the bit to find out what Balin is up to. And he talks about, and as being a history teacher too, I almost stopped it to write the stuff he said down because he's like, the older you get, you look at the history and you can see that it's inevitable. And then Shin's like, and it's just so funny because I see like my relationship with my students, the way Balin talks to her, like he's teaching her, and I
Yeah.
see it when I'm teaching in class, and he talks about the basically the cycle of a power rises up it's defeated. Good takes its place and evil shows back up, and it kind of foreshadows, A New Hope, Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
The Force Awakens. Like it kind of foreshadows like the sequel trilogy.
Filoni's
And he
doing it
talks about
again,
inevitability.
saving everything.
But he says, like you said earlier, he talks about like the stories and how, being here is like like a story coming true for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he seeks the beginning to end the cycle. What the heck does that mean?
Like, does he think that Thrawn's just going to destroy the other galaxy and he's just going to be dancing on Pridia? Like,
That's what I don't know. I'm gonna rewatch it. If people don't know, we watch it and then we hop right on. So like
yeah,
sometimes our facts and what we say may be a little bit off, but we want to get our raw emotions and like not let any like outside influences go on. So we just get on, we talk with each other, and we talk
yeah,
with you guys. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out what he means. There's something about this planet, and it's being tied with the Dathomiri Night Sisters. There's a story or something in that. And I'm having a feeling that like Ezra is going to tell Sabine or something like that a story, and that's going to be what Balin's after or something because he has a plan.
yeah.
So I
Well,
don't know.
well, Balin is like kind of hinting that he wants to stay there on Peridia, and Shin is like, "No, we gotta go." Like, don't you think it's weird that everybody else who's here wants to leave? Like, why is everybody trying to get away from
Yeah.
here? So Shin is like thinking like, okay, what's going on here? And Valen's just very much like, okay, I've got a plan and I'm smitten with this idea and this is what we're going to do. And I don't know if he's like sticking to the plan or if he's like changing it as he goes. But this is the first time I've ever questioned what Valen's been doing. He always seemed so sure of himself, but this episode he was very like, I'm not gonna keep my word with her. Like, like maybe I will, maybe I won't. You know what? It was
I guess that's what.
different.
Yeah, that's what I like about this because like I saw it one way, you see it a different way. So I think it's pretty cool that we both can be watching the same thing and like it's just that interpretation of it because I feel like he's still confident and he has his plan and he's letting things kind of slide into place. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely see it from your perspective too, where he's like, well, maybe I do got to change this or I got to change that. It's impossible for us to know until we know what the heck his plan is. But then it happens. The moment we've been waiting for. I see it coming up over the horizon, and then it just comes into the screen, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
It was beautiful.
It was so cool, and I know it's just a starship. It's just another part of the Imperial Navy, but man, it was so cool to see it live action. And then what were the markings on the bottom of it? Did you notice those?
Yeah, isn't that just like the markings that are on the book, the Thrawn books? Like I don't want to say this.
I don't know.
I think okay, so if you if you look at I want to say hardcover, but it would be any cover of I can't remember which Thrawn
Like
novel
the
it
snake
is.
ones?
Yeah, it's like where they're entwining, where they're like figure eight. I sound like an idiot, but I haven't read those Thrawn books, so what I've seen of what they look like, Johnny's just like banging his head against the table right now for us, but yeah, it's definitely like Thrawn's symbol, right? But like all the broken pieces and stuff on it are so cool. Like all the repairs they've done on the ship.
It's a mess. The ship is a mess.
Beautiful mess.
Yeah, I thought that the underbelly was a combination of what you just said and maybe some like Dathomiri like symbols or something. Kind of look like kind of reminiscent of whenever they bring that ship over in Mando season 3 and it has like the painting underneath it. It's all marked up. I mean, they look different, but this is the kind of a trend that we're seeing now is that people are like, so people can see when they're flying over, who's in it. Kind of like a pirate flag, basically.
Yeah,
you can
that's
see
what
it
I
from
would
the ground,
do.
but yeah,
I would have some cool racing stripes or something on like my ship. I don't know, something a little bit different. Something different, right? We just go into the Jedi games and just start crazy making the ships, the paint
Yeah, that would
jobs
be
and
kind of
stuff.
cool.
So
Kind
fun.
of like when you're playing Jedi Survivor and you can change the mantis around. Or both games you can do it, but you can change the
Yeah,
paints
exactly. Yeah, I
on
always
the
went with like the
mantis. So
red.
yeah,
I always went with the red. I don't know
yeah.
why. The red just looks good on it.
So,
Okay.
but the ship comes in, it lands over top. They have like basically a Stonehenge that they're on, similar to that
Hmm.
one that they had on Cetos in the
Yeah,
last
it's
couple
like
episodes. But
newer, more well
and then all these
maintained.
stormtroopers come up, and like Taylor said, they're kind of beat up and broken, but they've tied themselves together. They have some like red bands on them, like kind of like Night Sister,
Red
Dathomiri.
tape or
But then
something.
yeah, it's like
It's like red
cloth or
duct
something. And
tape.
then yeah, basically space duct tape. Um,
Yeah.
but then they have different things, and then there's a character whose name is Enoch, and he's
Enoch.
kind of like the general. And I had to look that name up because I knew it was familiar. And I found biblically, there's a lot of biblical, religious tie-ins to this show. But Enoch he's a great grandfather of Noah, and one of the
Oh.
few people who go straight to heaven and don't have to die first. There's like two people in all the Bibles, and I don't know. I had to look this up. Like I did, was like, oh,
Yeah, I don't
Enoch,
know
but I
any.
knew I had heard the name, and I kind of wonder, like the Great Flood.
Yeah.
Is Thrawn going to be like
Oh.
the Great Flood that's coming back or something? Because Dave does things on purpose,
He
but his
does.
mask was so
Gold
almost like
face?
Gladiator. Yeah, like Gladiator, right?
No,
Like,
I think it was like it reminded me of like a pharaoh, like an Egyptian pharaoh with like the
oh
chin
yeah,
piece and the gold face, you know what I mean?
yes,
But you
yeah,
want
I
to know
can see
something
that for
super
sure.
creepy? Okay, something so weird. I picked up my daughter from daycare today, and there was two kids in the class there was like two kids left in the class because it's like daycare, and I'm picking up Abby, and there's one other kid, and Abby gets a little treasure from like the treasure box because she's really good, and this other little boy I guess wasn't really good, so he doesn't get a treasure, and his name was Enoch.
Nice.
And like
For real?
I swear on our podcast that this kid's
Oh,
name
that's
was Enoch.
crazy.
And I've heard my daughter
That
say the
is
kid's
crazy.
name, like, oh, I did this at school today and blah blah blah, played with me or whatever, but like I actually saw the kid for the first time today, and that's just so weird that this name is like
That
in
is
this.
kind of weird. That
And
is kind of weird.
if these parents listen
Suggestions.
to the podcast, your kid is super cute, by the way, and I'm sorry that he didn't get a treat. Sorry.
Parent rivalry started here on Explore the
Right.
Forest, Ahsoka HQ.
Yeah, sorry.
But
I'm just like
that's a crazy
really
story, though.
super weird force connection or something.
Yeah, that's a Force encounter if I've ever heard one
I've never
before,
even
man. That's
heard that name
crazy.
before today. Like before.
I knew I had seen it and I think I wasn't expecting it to be biblical when I looked it up. I knew I had seen it
Mm.
somewhere. I thought it was more like ancient Greek or Roman or something like that. But yeah, it was kind of cool. And then the stormtroopers look amazing. Like they're beat up. They had that
Oh,
lived-in feel. And then here he comes. Here he comes. Old Blueface himself
old blue
comes
faces.
strolling down. Comes strolling down the middle of the formation.
Oh
And
my
what were your
gosh.
thoughts, Taylor? Here he is. This guy. We've been waiting for 5 weeks since the show has started, but we've been waiting for months since
Yeah.
it was teased at Celebration.
I know. You're gonna be super disappointed in my opinion because
I
I
don't
was
know.
kind of disappointed in Thrawn's appearance.
He was too.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay. So,
I thought
I don't
his
know.
voice was amazing, and it's like I
Yes.
said, that will save it. But and it kind of ties into something. But I'll let you go first, Taylor. Like talk about Thrawn.
Well, like right away, his body language is different. Like, so
He's
that's
not
why
as
I was kind of,
confident.
well, that's what I was asking you about, like the timing, but because like how much has he aged? Like, I don't know, just
Well,
he's
he
very
is
like,
much older,
he's
but
like leaning forward and like he's like slouched and he's like slow and I don't know, like he's not like puffed
his
out chest, like hands crossed, like proper shoulders. So I'm like, is he older? And like his eyes were just so red that they were like flippin' glowing, Jimmy. His eyes were like
Well,
glowing, like
they were glowing, I
it was
think.
like
Like, I don't think
Superman
that
on.
was,
It was like just Superman
yeah.
glowing all the time. Like I understand red eyes. Like I see red eyes every day at the zoo. We have animals that have those pink albino eyes. Whatever. Those eyes were just so fake, and I just wish that they were done a little bit better. And there's
Yeah,
more, but I'll let you go.
no, go ahead. Just let us have it. Beat up
I don't know.
Thrawn.
I don't know. His eyes were annoying me. His posture was annoying me. His voice was good. His voice was good.
Well, it
Um,
should be. It's Thrawn.
yeah, it is him. Like he didn't overdo it. I did like how his like face imprints, or like how he always is supposed to have like the weird shaped face muscles. So like his
Yeah.
forehead has them with above the eyes, which it fit perfectly. It totally looks like a like some off species of the human race. You know what I mean? But they had
Yeah.
absolutely nothing on his cheeks at all, and
Yeah, his cheeks weren't as sharp as. I
they.
mean, you can only do so much
I
when the
agree,
actor
but they
doesn't
didn't.
look like.
Yeah, and I don't know, he just looked very old, and I don't want to
Yeah.
be like, oh, he's old, because like I don't know how old the
Well,
actor actually is,
I
but
don't. Well, I mean, I don't think. I'll look it up. But yeah, I would agree with a lot of what you said. I think some of it has to do with the fact that they're working with an actor who I don't think I mean, he's no spring chicken or anything.
right.
So, but let me see if I can find exactly. But yeah, I kind of saw that. Okay, so this is where we're gonna get boos. Maybe I think that this episode since the first two episodes, to me, the scenery and the art stuff is starting to be more volumey, and it looks fake and cheap to me.
Is
Like
it?
it doesn't look real to me. As far as like, I thought that I thought that the first two, he was born in 1964, so he's not that old. I mean, I was
Hmm.
born in 76, so I mean, he's close to 60 years old. So I guess that's part of it. But I just think I was going to talk about this at the end. It's going to kind of go into my scores, but I don't, I don't, I think stuff doesn't look real to me. So
Sure.
I mean, I've had this problem with other shows where it looks like a set and it
Yeah.
takes me out of it a little bit. And I know these things cost millions and millions of dollars, and
Oh yeah.
you have to decide. I mean, I'm sure like everything they did last week probably sucked up so much of the
All
budget
their
that
yeah.
but um, yeah, I don't know. And looking at Thrawn, I thought his hair looked kind of wonky. The eyes weren't great.
Yeah.
Um, his uniform didn't fit great either. Like I know, like
Yeah.
he's not Henry Cavill. He's not going to be like walking around all jacked and diesel. But
That's
I don't know.
true.
It just something felt off to me with everything. Like even like right from the get go, it kind of felt weird. Um, so, but yeah, I'm glad that you and I both kind of feel the same way. That I
Well,
wasn't totally blown away by Thrawn. So
no, and I want to know how his suit is still white. Like, dude, you're living
Clorox,
on a planet without a
bleach.
washing machine.
Yeah, I don't
Droids, that's
know.
right. They do have droids. Star destroyers are ginormous. They probably have a ton of laundromat
They probably
volume.
got some nice Maytag washing machines.
Yeah, and then there's Ezra washing his clothes in like a puddle next to a shellfish person. Oh yeah, we have
Yeah.
to talk about
Then
those.
we'll get there. So,
Okay.
it seems like Thrawn knows Balin though, because he calls him General Balin Skull. So that was kind of weird.
No,
I
I
don't know if
think
he
he
was
called
just
him that, like, yeah, like he called him that, like,
just
general, like you were a general in the Clone Wars,
yeah.
and now you're on the bad side. Like, I think it was like a jab at him, like
Okay.
poking the bear. I don't know.
And then they bring Sabine up, and it's kind of cool to see Sabine and Thrawn on face to face live action, kind of both of them jabbing at each other. And
Yeah,
Thrawn is just calm and cool, collected. He's like, there's no reason for hostilities. Like his
yeah,
voice is all melodic, and yeah, all the negative things I said about Thrawn. The voice, though, man, the voice saves it. Makes it
Yeah.
sound so good. But so what's the deal with Sabine? Why do you? I mean, I figured. I mean, it wasn't really hard to guess why they're letting her go, but Balin does live up to his promise.
Yeah, I guess so. He wasn't really. I didn't seem like he was very planning on keeping his word, but I guess they do let Sabine just leave. But yeah, I love
From a
Sabine and
certain point of view.
yeah, exactly what I said want to do. But like the Sabine and Thrawn interaction was really good. Like it felt like
Yeah.
there was history between those two actors.
Yeah, those
You could
actors
feel
did
it.
a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like they
yeah, that's good.
knew each
That's a good
other for
call.
sure. So it's like it's just cool, and like I like how Sabine was like just so snippy back to him, and he's just like, "Ah, this is just the same old Sabine, you know, like old
Yeah, and
friends. He
he
probably was happy that there was like someone else there. He's like, oh,
kind of have to be a little bit like,
yeah,
oh, thank
right.
God, someone I know.
Yeah, and then
um,
yeah, so then they let Sabine go, and they get she's like, "Well, I need a mount. Like, what do you guys drive
yeah,
here?" And they're like, "Wolf Croc." So cool. Okay, so
yes,
the tongue is
that's
super weird when it comes out.
yeah, that's kind of strange. I liked them though. I don't know why. They kind of reminded me of my dog Zoe, like,
Yeah.
um, just like real obedient but real energetic. Um, but yeah, so um, they're called howlers.
Yeah.
They look like wolf, crocodile, like they have those faces. They kind of look like wargs from Lord of the Rings. That's it. My goodness, I have it written
Oh.
down. Lord of the Rings. Those the beasts that the goblins and everybody rides. Those
Yeah.
uh, dog things. Like they kind of look like those, but they're
Right,
a lot
yeah.
sweeter. They weren't. It wasn't real mean or anything.
No,
I
and
thought it was
like
kind
she
of
just
cool.
like
I really liked it.
I was waiting for it to like snap at her when she was about to get on. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
here we go. But like they just went off and yeah, she like shames it for getting scared and ditching her. But then it comes back and it's like knows what it's done wrong. Like my dog, I walk in the house and he just like looks at me and I know he's done something wrong. You know, like they just
Mhm.
have that like I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but I missed you all day, but I'm sorry. There's something in the kitchen that you don't want to see. And it's like, oh my God, the
Yeah,
garbage
for
is
sure.
everywhere. But
Yeah.
we should pause
Zoe
there.
has her food bowl in different places all the time. So after this thing reminded me of my dog so much. But before we dive any further into that, I want to rewind 1 second. Yeah. So before we hop out on, we've taken off and we get to see more Peridia. The conversation between Sabine and Thrawn was pretty tense. Like we said, good jabs,
Hmm.
mutual respect, good enemies. You can appreciate a good enemy or a good competition. You know,
Yeah.
um, but I thought that Thrawn kind of calls her out and it's like, bet the you bet the galaxy on finding Ezra because now I'm going back there and I'm taking it. And
Yeah.
she responds basically like, "We'll see." And I kind of felt like I saw some like Emperor's and Luke Skywalker Return the Jedi conversation where he's like, your weakness is your um, faith in your friends and all that stuff.
Is your
And like
failure, yeah. It's
Thrawn
your
does not see Ezra as a threat, and Sabine believes in him. And then she tells him straight up, "You wouldn't understand." And Thrawn
yeah.
kind of is like taken aback a little bit, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Maybe I wouldn't." And I was like, I mean, that's the crazy thing about Thrawn is like he knows when he doesn't know something, and he's not afraid to admit like he's like, oh yeah, I haven't maybe thought about that or seen it that way. But I just thought that was
Yeah.
pretty tense. Couple little, I'm excited to watch it again.
Mhm.
This kind of listen to that conversation one more time. But yeah, I guess
Yeah.
got some like Luke Skywalker, Emperor vibes from Return of the Jedi. But I
Yeah,
we'll
actually.
see how it plays out. So
Yeah, like you're betting everything on one person. Like this
yeah.
isn't the Jedi way. Oh.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's pretty crazy. So, but
Mm.
yeah. So back to the wolves, the troopers. I put troopers times witches because they're kind of different. These stormtroopers are always such jerks and things like that in the shows. And the he warns Sabine, he's like, "Hey, here's your weapons. Here's your lightsaber." I mean, they're obviously setting her up and they're going to track her, but I don't
Yeah.
think it takes a rocket science to figure that out. But and he goes at the end. He goes, "Die well," because he talks
Yeah.
about there being scavengers and stuff
Die
out there.
well.
I just thought
Yeah.
that was just kind of weird to me how he said that. Just not like a stormtrooper thing to say, you know. So I kind of like
Yeah,
this dude
right.
there might be something more to this Enoch character
Yeah, maybe.
than. So we'll see. I'll be curious. But yeah, so we get out and Sabine takes off, and what happens next, Taylor?
She loses her ride and she loses her communicator because she gets attacked by armored Tusken Raiders from
Yeah,
this
they made some
planet
noises, and I was like, yeah, basically the Tusken Raiders, the natives
of Peridia,
of
right?
Perid. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I did
cool.
not.
And like she's such a good fighter. Oh my gosh. Guns first, just guns a blazing. She's like shooting,
Gonna,
shooting, defend like blocking. She blocks a shot that would have hit her in the face with her gun at the same time as
yeah, it
doing
was pretty
another
cool.
shot. So good. And like she loses focus and she starts falling and tripping up, but like she's done way better than any of us would have done. So,
Yeah, sure,
but
for
what did you
sure,
think of
for
that fight
sure.
scene?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that fight scene was pretty cool. I thought it was a good breakup. It didn't feel. See, this is some of the things, and I'm trying not to get nitpicky, but it felt like it was just inserted there because they needed some action. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like it didn't. For me, it didn't like.
I guess so. You could cut
I
it out and
liked.
nothing
I
would have
liked.
changed.
Yeah, nothing would have changed, right? Except maybe a little bit of the connection with her howler. But I
Oh
did like
yeah.
the action, though, like you said. Like she is kicking butt. She's using her blaster. She's using her Mandalorian weapons, and then
Oh,
she
so many blocking.
light
Oh, so many. Oh.
switches to lightsaber and just starts slicing things up. And
Yeah.
so I thought
Oh,
that was
she
pretty. It
turns
was a
her
really good fight
saber
scene. It
on.
just didn't feel necessary. Didn't feel organic to me. I don't know why. I don't want to sound like like a jerk or nothing, but it just didn't feel organic happening. It felt kind of like pieced together, and
Yeah, like
I
they were
also
right
kind of like
there.
that whole like, oh, here we are. We've been waiting
we're
for you, even though we didn't know you were coming.
we're right over the
So
very first hill. Like
yes, we're right, literally been right here the whole time. So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And then her ride, like you said, her howler takes off, and then it comes back, and there's a pretty fun exchange between her and the howler. And being a dog guy, I loved that scene. I knew exactly what was going to happen. It's like, go, you're in trouble. And then howler's like, whining. And then it
follows.
turns around and walks away. And then she walks past, and they just let that sit on the screen. I'm like, okay, here it comes. And here, it comes trotting back like, I'm going to go find mom. Here I
Don't
come.
leave without me. Yeah. And it
So,
like gives it such a personality that like you don't even
yes,
like
it had,
literally 5 minutes ago you didn't even like there's just so
no.
much love there for him now. I just have
Yeah,
so
it was.
freaking cute and big tongue.
Yeah, my wife says, it looks like Alf. Do you remember Alf? Are you old enough to have watched
Yeah, I
Alf?
do. He's like
Okay.
orange and he has
She's
like the
like,
crocodile
yeah,
face thing.
yeah. She's like, oh, it looks like Alf.
Oh, so
So I thought that was
ugly.
pretty funny. But yeah,
No,
it
I'll never
happened
get that
quick
out of my
though. Like
vision.
the connection between the audience and that howler. I mean, that happened like boom. Because at first you're like, oh, this thing's gross and blah, and then it
Gonna
takes off
bite her
running,
arm off.
and then
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're like, oh, a little howler, buddy.
Oh, so cute. He smells. He smells good. Oh, he's drinking water.
So
I
I thought it
love
was pretty
that.
cool. And
Yeah.
then we have new species alerts.
New
The
aliens.
Noti.
New aliens.
Yes,
Oh
the
my gosh.
Noti. What'd you think of the Noti?
Okay, so people who didn't watch with subtitles, those shellfish people are called Noti. Um, Jimmy told me that just literally like 5 seconds before we started recording. Because apparently on subtitles it says what they are. So they're so cool. Like I don't even
They're
mind the
pretty cute,
animation
yeah.
on them. There's so many little bits and
Yeah.
like crustacean like mouthpieces and like little hairs and like a lot of work went into these aliens.
Yes.
And it's really cool,
Do you
but
think
like
they're
they I feel like they would be something that would be living on beaches, but they're not. They're not living on the
Yeah, I
beach.
mean they do end up by the water.
That's
Their
true.
little
They were
village is kind
there.
of down by the water, maybe. I don't know. But
Oh,
yeah, it was
maybe it
kind of weird.
is.
It was like, are those rocks like, are they like snails with feet? I mean, is that what we're going with here? Like feet, like
Um,
walking snails or something? I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. It was fun to see new species, and they're cute. And we talked about last week about franchising and about merchandise, and this was another episode that has,
I
because
want
now everyone's
one.
they're gonna want their Black Series or their Funko Pop Noti and howlers. I mean, I'll get a howler. I know I will. But so yeah,
Yeah,
so
those
there's
are
more
cool.
opportunity, and just like those normal. You've seen characters and you've seen species like this throughout Star Wars.
Hmm.
Are they the Ewoks of Ahsoka, where they're like these little harmless things, but they're gonna kick some butt whenever it takes? Because how many of these things are out there? They just look like rocks,
Maybe,
you know. So
maybe this is the return of the Jedi guys. Like, because remember I was saying how like all the episodes are like mirroring the different Skywalker.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
That's
like
what
their little
I kind of first
language
thought was like,
too.
yeah. That's what I kind of saw when I saw them. I was like, oh, these are like these like little innocent creatures who are gonna get bullied around a little bit, but then when it comes time to fight, they're not gonna. You're not gonna want to have trifle with these guys. They're gonna
Yeah,
jack something up. But we'll
yeah,
see.
right.
They're pretty cute though. They get they kind of have an Ewok. They kind of have a Wicket Princess Leia moment. There's a lot of, like you
Yeah,
said, there's a lot of mirroring of episode 6, Return of the Jedi, in this, because you had the Emperor Luke stuff, and now you have the Princess Leia Wicket stuff, where Sabine's trying to
yeah.
befriend this Noti, and hey, come here, I'm friendly, and you had more interaction with the Howler, which was pretty cute, pretty funny,
There you go.
and yeah, so yeah, you're spot on with that, Taylor, with it mirroring, rhyming with it or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Lots of different examples of George Lucas coming out in Dave Filoni, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
So
it's almost like they're taking what people like from the original Star Wars or the other Star Wars movies when they're using that to get people to like Ahsoka.
yeah,
But
very.
yeah,
I liked it. It's a little
yeah, but
predictable, mm, but
I
we'll
didn't
see. We'll see
actually.
what
Okay,
happens. I could be completely wrong.
so it was predictable for you, but first of all, I just had to say, my notes here say, uh, find little shellfish person in a vest and trousers. It's like a little button-up thing. Like it looked like he was gonna have a
These all
pocket
look like,
watch.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I could
so
see
I thought
that.
that was cute. But
That was pretty
yeah,
funny.
so I
Um,
have my like coffee mug, and I'm watching, and I'm watching them. They've taken her back to the village, and it's like, oh, they have little round cute little houses, like, oh, they're so peaceful and friendly, and oh, and I'm like watching and like writing down notes and like, okay, and trying to see something, and I'm like reaching for my coffee cup, and just as I've grabbed it, or just before I've grabbed it, I hear, I knew I could count on you. And like my brain
mm.
was already committed to grabbing the coffee cup, but it was like, whoa! And I was like excited, surprised at the same time. And I like grabbed the cup really fast and like, I don't even know, drank really fast out of my coffee cup. I don't know. I almost scalded myself.
Oh no.
Having a miniature stroke or something. Um, but yeah, I don't know
Oh
why I
man.
didn't that wasn't predictable for me. I thought she was going to have to look harder for him, or that he wasn't going to be like
Oh,
30 minutes away.
I had two pin where it's like, 'cause I kept watching the clock to see like, are we gonna get him or is it gonna cut off here? Um,
Yeah.
and I kind of was like, all right, they're gonna get to him. But before she finds him though, they flash back to Shin and Balin at that first fight that Sabine had, and he's kind of impressed with her and everything like that. And they have this conversation, and Shin's like, Balin's kind of reminiscing about things, and
Hmm.
Shin asks him, "Do you miss it?" And he's like, "Miss what?" And she's like, "The Jedi Order, the Temple." And he goes, "I miss the idea of it," which is kind of cool
Yeah.
because, like, have you ever been in a relationship or friends that you kind of fallen out with for whatever reason, like you miss the
Yeah.
idea of them sometimes, whereas you
Yeah.
don't necessarily miss them. There's a reason you're not together anymore. Um,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
but I thought that was kind of kind of a cool way to explain it. And it sounds like to me like he would have left. Like he wasn't buying what they were selling towards the end. Maybe someone almost like Barriss Offee, kind of getting frustrated with the way the Jedi Order was being handled during the Clone Wars and stuff. But then he tells Shin that Ezra is a Boken Jedi, and Boken's like a sword, a practice sword the samurai used.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of looked up to see if there was like
Yeah.
a Boken samurai. I couldn't find anything on that term, so I'll need someone smarter than me to explain that to me. But then Shin goes, he was like, he was trained to be a Jedi, and she's like, oh, like me. And he goes, no, I've trained you to be much more than a Jedi. I was like,
Yeah. He's like, no.
ooh.
Oh.
So I'm kind
Yeah.
of curious. He's got a plan for. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be in Shin's favor, like if she's going to be the Gamora of this show and get sacrificed or something for the greater good. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't know if you saw
Yeah, I
anything in
don't know.
that little back and forth. Did you catch anything extra in there?
Well, she's like asking what is it? What's your she's asking him what the plan is. Like what is the goal?
Yeah,
Like what's your goal here? What game are you playing? And he says something calls to me here. And
yeah. He talks
he's
about
just
feeling it,
smiling
hear it, and
away
see it.
like, yeah, he's like, can't you
Yeah,
hear
there's
it? And she's
something.
like, no, you're flipping nuts. Like, let's get out of here with everyone else.
Yeah,
Right? So I think
yeah.
she's
So
conflicted. So
yeah,
we don't
I
know about
think the
what.
one reason
So
you don't tell somebody the plan is because they may not make it to the end of the plan. So I don't know. We'll see. Things are starting to come
mm,
clear. I'm really excited for this part of this show, though. Like, I think that's one of the reasons that last week's episode didn't feel great to me is because we didn't have these two characters in there. And I like new. I like things I
yeah.
don't know. I know the Clone Wars. I knew, the flashbacks and stuff. But anyway, so
Yeah.
I got to get my little bromance with Balin over with. But so, like you said, it happens. I wasn't sure, 100% sure it was going to happen, but you hear it. You hear Ezra's voice, and they turn around, and man, do they hug for a very, 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 very long time.
Well, even the little notey people are like, ooh.
Yeah,
Like,
like they talk about brother and sister, but there's not. That's more than brother and sister hug.
yeah,
So
well, if it's been 18 years or
yeah,
whatever, we
whatever it's been,
don't
it's been
know.
yeah. We gotta learn how to do some math. So. But
Yeah.
I thought he looked cool. He
Which,
had some real this is gonna be. I don't. Not just because he played Aladdin, but he hasn't this look. He looks like Aladdin the Jedi. And I thought it looked cool though. I liked his outfit. His gear was like red, kind of like I don't know. It just really gave me it gave a cool vibe. His beard looks great, and I put down looks like it
yeah.
could really be him. Like it looks like it could be Ezra older.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
I,
pretty cool.
he, yeah, he really impressed me. Like, the voice, I don't know, it just sounded like him, and like you
Yeah, I
could
thought it was.
tell like he wasn't as immature as Ezra was the last time we saw him, but he's also
Yeah,
been, probably teaching himself and meditating and having the time to focus on the force in his studies and stuff. So he's like, you can tell he's matured, but he still has
yeah,
all
oh,
the
yeah.
jokes and stuff towards Sabine, and like their friendly
Wow.
relationship is like just is there. And I don't
Yeah,
know. I liked it. I thought he looked great. His like clothes are great. Like,
yeah, it was so
but I
cool.
really thought that Sabine was gonna be like, "Here's your lightsaber back." Like, oh, here it is. But they didn't even talk about it.
No. Well, yeah, he was trying to get to business, and she's like, "Can I just be happy I found you?" I thought that was kind of
That's
cool.
true. Yeah, that's nice.
So yeah, so she wasn't rushing. She just wanted to, and I mean, I think she knows they're in for a battle, and she just wants to take this minute and be like, "Everything I've done, everything has led me here. I'm just going to enjoy it for a few minutes, and then we're going to go and we're going to get back to
Yeah.
reality." And sometimes you just need that break from life. I think she was taking her
Yeah.
mental holiday before before it hits the fan in the next two episodes, because we only got two episodes left, and this one
Oh
ends.
God.
I think this is a great introduction to Thrawn for people who don't know him. because they know that Ahsoka's on the way on a traveler, and he's like, I want to know everything about Ahsoka. I want to know who her master was, her family line. Like, he just starts rattling off all these things.
Till he finds that out.
Yeah, and I think because, remember, Thrawn and Anakin Skywalker shared an adventure together. They were together in that one book. So if it's going to give any insight,
like,
or maybe
I know him.
Maybe it's going to steer him the wrong way, and Sabine, because now she's had this great awakening and she's no longer headed down the same path as Anakin. Maybe that gives Sabine the upper hand she needs, because Thrawn's going to think he knows everything. Well, who knows? But I just think that was
so different all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think it's going to be it was a really good introduction to people who don't know Thrawn. They paid attention, and he just starts rattling off all these things he wants to know about her, and his determination. Like, we will pretend she's alive until we know otherwise, and and then he's also on the outs with Balin. He's like, well, Balin's flawed. So, which makes me a little bit nervous.
Morgan, it's unlike you to underestimate a Jedi. And he's like, obviously, Balin is flawed too. Like, who cares? And like, oh, we'll leave them here. Like, who cares? And like,
yeah, for sure. I really loved that scene. And I think that's the thing too. Is like, if you know Rebels, you know Star Wars, you've read some of the Thrawn books, things like that. There is so much to these little conversations that people are having. But I still think too that you don't have to know all that stuff to really enjoy it and kind of start piecing things together. So again, hats off to Filoni and his writing. I thought, again, he's done a pretty good job. So, but do we have anything else you want to talk about before we do the hard part?
So Thrawn, I guess, decides to take things in his own hands, and he goes right to the dark, or the three witches, and says, "Sisters, I need your dark magic once again." We decided he's pretty much done with Balin, and he pretty much tells Morgan to blow up any whale that comes into the system. So that's going to be great for when Ahsoka rolls up.
I don't want to see that on live action. I don't want to see them blowing up a whale. So,
oh my god, have you seen?
Ugh.
Have you seen? Oh my god, I can't even think of what it's called now. It's a terrible TV show about superheroes on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah. The boys.
The Boys, and that one episode where they crash the ship into the whale. It's terribly gory and just like supposed to be funny. It's like, bah. Okay, well, anyways, we've already seen it, so we don't need to see it again.
I stopped watching that. It was a bit much.
I did.
But yeah,
I stopped watching after that too. Oh yeah, and then what was the? So what is the thread of destiny? Is that a thing, or was that just like a saying that they were?
Well, I think for them, I think they're like the Fates, the three sisters from like Greek mythology, because there's three of them, there's three of the Fates, and they kind of have, and if you're like a Hercules or whatever, they have
like
that
Hercules.
thread that they cut.
The witches.
So,
and the string.
So I think that they have like what they believe to be their destiny, and that they're following their destiny, and Thrawn's part of that destiny. But I think that Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine and Hera and whoever else shows up. I guess not Hera. I think she might be out of it, but they're going to have to, obviously something's going to happen. There's no way this is wrapping up in 2 episodes.
Oh my gosh. I hope it doesn't just like, well, I think they said there was going to be a couple 2 seasons. Well, they said there was going to be 2 seasons of Ahsoka, right?
Well, no, they've said that it's 1 because Rosario Dawson was pleading like, "Oh yeah, I want to be more. I want to be Ahsoka more." But who knows? That could be her just taunting and trying to throw everybody off on how the season ends. But I would be stunned if there wasn't another season coming. But anyways, So there's so much to unpack on this one. I want to rewatch it probably as soon as we get off here.
I got to go downstairs and watch it with my husband now.
Into it more. But here is the hard part. We avoided it for a little bit longer. We got to give our scores. We got to give our Lothcat scores.
Yes.
Taylor, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I'm gonna give this episode an 8 out of 10 Lothcats because there was a lot of good stuff in it. I really liked this episode. It was so much different from last week's episode, and I really liked last week's episode. But then I know a lot of people didn't like it.
Did.
So,
well, I think more people liked it than didn't.
I saw so many comments where people were like, "This is the best Star Wars we've ever seen," and I'm like, "Well, no, hold up." Like, it's great, and I've been waiting for this, but it was, anyways, last week. But this week, 8 out of 10. There was a lot of good stuff. There was room to improve. Yeah. What about you? Yeah,
this is not my favorite episode. I did like this better than last week, and I was kind of harsh on last week's episode. I think I gave it either a 7 or a 7.5.
Yeah, we're allowed to be harsh.
I'll give it an 8. I would give it an 8.5 if things looked better. If the volume wasn't so blaring, and that the some of the scenes and things like that didn't really jive with me. So other than that, I'll say an 8 because I really love Balin and Shin. I love that the story's unraveling. I love that Thrawn is back and Ezra is back, and we've got this whole, everyone's here. We've got 2 episodes to go. So yeah, I'll say
everybody but Zeb.
Yeah, man, yeah, we'll get into that. We'll have to get into that some other time. But yeah, maybe Zeb shows up to help Hera. Who knows? But yeah, I don't want to get into it. So yeah, 8 loaf cats from both of us, which is crazy because you and I were both you and I were way off.
We're so
we were at last week, and then we're both kind of pulled us together on this one. So very cool. That's what I love about Star Wars. We can be on opposite ends one week and then back together on the next one. And we both liked it for different reasons. So it's very cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, folks, let us know what you thought, what you think of the recap, what you thought of this episode, where you think the show's heading. You let us know. We're on every social media at Explore the Force. You can email us. You can give us a voice note. You can go on to Spotify and and you can record a voice message. We'll play it on the show. Let us know what you think about Ahsoka Episode 6, Far, Far Away. So, Taylor, you want to take us out?
Thanks for listening to us this week, guys. Let us, as Jimmy said, let us know if we missed anything, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. And don't forget to check out our Facebook chat on Ahsoka. Just join our Facebook group, and then you can join the chat with all of us, and it is full of spoilers. So be prepared for that. Well, I guess we will see you next week from me. For light and life.
And for all of us, we have spoken.
Thank you, Jimmy. Bye, guys.